Howdy folks, Little John in the kitchen banging up a brew. Today's brew is version 2 of the hard lemonade. It's that time of the year again. Lemons are in abundance, and the same girl from work who got me a lot of lemons last year for the lemonade has got me a lot of lemons this year, so hard lemonade it is. This year we're going to do a few tweaks, change up the recipe just a little bit, just to make some tunings from last year, but fairly similar, so we'll go through the process once again. Before we do, quick shout out to all the patrons, particularly newest patron Jason James Mullows. Hope you're watching, mate, good to see you along. Anybody else interested in being a patron, jump in the link below. As I said, hard lemonade. This has been a pretty popular recipe, the original version. A lot of people have brewed it, and I've got a lot of feedback that it was quite a good recipe, and I enjoyed it as well. But always there's some tuning that can be done with things. Playing around, make things, trying to make things a little bit better. Last year's batch for me was a little too dry, not quite sweet enough. I don't really know how I can address the sweetness without being silly on stuff, but I did end up with a lot more volume and alcohol than I had planned. So that's the main focus of pulling back this year, is reducing the amount of sugars, trying to bring the alcohol content down a little bit, but also to stop it from being quite so dry. So that in mind, this is where we're going. I've got the pot over here. I'm aiming for a 16 litre batch this year. I ended up with 22 last year. So I've got in here at the moment 6 litres of water, and I'll just write that down so I don't bloody forget what it is. And I've just got it warming up. Here I have my lemon juice, which is currently frozen. I got the lemons early last week. They were quite ripe, as lemons are when you get them from home, from the tree house, and they're fallen off, they're fully ripe, they're ready to go. And I had to go away on the weekend, so I juiced this during the week, and I wasn't going to be able to keep it, so I had to go away for the weekend down to Wollongong. So I've just stuck it in the freezer and frozen. It was easy to freeze the juice and to freeze the lemons and then muck around that way. So what I've ended up with is about 1.5 litres of freshly squeezed lemon juice, which is about 32 lemons. I didn't actually count. So I'm hoping I've got this defrosted enough it's going to get into the pot without too much drama. And in she goes. We'll start defrosting as we warm up. Now, remaining ingredients. Again, we've got lime juice. Again, 6 limes, same as last year, no different there. And there's about 200 ml of lime juice. And this is just freshly squeezed. I've just done this before we set up. So in it goes. I've got dextrose. Last year was a kilo. This year knocked it back to 500 grams. So only half the dextrose we had last year. And again, trying to reduce the dryness in the end lemonade. Raw sugar, 300 grams. Last year was 500. And again, trying to bring that dryness down, but I still want to lose some of the flavour that the raw sugar brings in. And about a cup of light brown sugar, loosely packed cup, and that's the same as the last batch. I think that's an important part of the actual flavour. Now on here I've got my lactose, which I'm not going to put in just yet. I'll put that in once I've boiled. Last year was 500 grams of lactose. There was some nice sweetness in that brewing. If you haven't watched the tasting video, go back and watch it. I'll put a link up. And it was holding some sweetness against the dryness, but I think if we can pull the dryness back with the lower sugars, we won't need as much lactose to get the same result, and particularly as I'm aiming for a small batch. So in effect, this is probably very same amount of lactose per per litre as it was last year. The other ingredient is ginger. Last year I had, I think it was about 60 grams of grated ginger, and watching the tasting, I do recall that the ginger was quite overpowering. Well, not overpowering, but it was fairly strong on the nose. So I've actually got 60 grams here. I didn't grate it, I've just chopped it up, but I'm only going to put about half of this in. Maybe a bit over. So maybe 35 grams of ginger. So I'm going to knock that back a little bit and get that all on. Now that lemon juice is starting to pour out. So what I want to do now, I'm just going to boil this for about 10-15 minutes just to make sure everything's mixed together, the juice and everything's sterilised, any bugs, anything that are in there have been boiled off. So I'm going to leave that. I'll come back at the end of the boil and we'll finish up and have a look at some numbers and see how we're going to go with adjusting into the fermenter. Righto, we've just come into a boil. I've taken a refractometer reading and we're at 1041, which is a little lower than I would have liked. I would have been like to have been a bit higher than that. So at that rate I'm only going to be able to probably bring in another 2 litres and still keep it a reasonable, still a reasonable ABV level, somewhere around that of a standard sort of a beer, at 4.5% mark. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick another 100 grams of Dex and 50 grams of raw sugar in, just to give that a little bit extra boost. And it wasn't real sweet or sugary, little tasting, so I don't think it's going to hurt. Put that in. And we'll get this lactose in as well. So obviously I've measured the gravity before sticking the lactose in, so I've got an idea of the actual gravity I'm going to be able to ferment. Once that lactose goes in, because it's not going to ferment and it really throws your numbers out. So probably should have taken a refrac. A new one after I put that sugar in, but I can calculate. I've calculated that out to be about 1051. So I'm pretty happy with that. So we'll let that boil now for about 10-15 minutes. Get me fermenter ready. We'll come back and have a look once it's cooled a little bit and we're going into the fermenter. We'll get some final volumes and some final numbers. Okay, boil's well and truly finished. I let it run for, in the end it was about 20 minutes. It's been sitting for a little while, just cooling somewhat. I haven't worried about going to a to a water bath or anything to cool it off. There's no hops or anything like a beer to keep bittering, so you can just cool. I've got my fermenter all sanitised, good to go. I've stuck 3 litres of water in there. I'm going to add this to it. Let's sit in the top of the fermenter just to get out any of this ginger and any lemon seeds. Any crumbs left over, get it all out. There we go. And we've got our 12 litres that I was aiming for, so I'm happy with that. You see there's a bit of crud there, we caught, that we didn't want. So now I'm just going to give this a good, give it a bit of air now. Now we're nowhere near ready to pitch our yeast. It's all good. About that, so I'm just going to, this will just go out and let it sit. So I've got 12 litres. I added the lactose. I worked out the lactose should give us somewhere around 9 or 10 gravity points overall. So we'll just see where we've finished up at. Okay. And that's about 1057. Sorry, 1050. About 1053. So if there is 10 points in the lactose, which is be pretty close, it gets us back to 1043. We should attenuate, 75% of that, 80%. So that's gets us about 32, 33 points of gravity drop, which gets us low 4s, straight out of the fermenter, and in the mid sort of 4 6s, 4 7s in the bottle with some priming. So that's pretty much exactly where I wanted to be. So all is good. Had a bit of a taste before. Let's grab another one. Just to see exactly where we're sitting initially. So it's still a little bit warm, but yeah, I think that's good. It's not particularly sweet. I think the last batch was quite sweet, going into the ferment, which is where that dryness comes from, then that higher alcohol. That's not holding us, not got as much sweetness going in. So I think that's going to work quite nicely. And in all honesty, if you're looking for a non-alcoholic lemonade, that right there, in a keg with some CO2 stuck on it, would be bloody delightful. But you're here for the grog. So to achieve that outcome, EC 1118 champagne yeast. What I used in the last batch, I'll be using on this one packet, 5 grams. Just pitch dry, no worries, no mucking around with rehydration for this fella. It's going to go onto the bench in the garage. I can't get into the fridge. I've got 2 batches of Pilsner in the ferment fridge, which are still cold crashing. But this will go onto the bench, and just lucky enough, the temperature gods, the weather gods have shined on me, and the temperature's dropped a little bit, and we're going to get a couple of days in the low 20s, which is better than the mid 30s we've been having. So that will get me a few days to get this Pilsner out of the fridge and bottled. I think I can get this one into the fridge under temperature control before the temperature gets back up. So it's all good. I'll go put him away now, let him cool. Probably going to be tomorrow morning before I can pitch the yeast on it, but that's not. I'm not worried about that. That'll be fine. And that's it. I expect this is probably going to take about 2 weeks to get through its doing what it's got to do. About 3 weeks time I'll probably look to bottle it. Hopefully I can bottle it in 2 weeks. I've got a work Christmas party here in 4 weeks time, weekend before Christmas, and I'd really like this to be ready for them. So we'll see how we go. Ideally, I can get it out of here in 2 weeks and into the bottle. But if I can't, I can't. I'm not going to rush it. So that's where we're at. Either way, I'll be back with a review on this probably the other side of Christmas. I don't see it happening before Christmas. I probably won't get time to do that, and make sure it's got enough time in the bottle just to come nicely carbonated properly and all the rest of it. So that's it. Hard lemonade version number 2 with some adjustments. Got any questions, stick them down the bottom, ask away. If you haven't subscribed to Little John, hit the subscribe button down there in the corner. Get notified when things are happening, come along for the ride. But other than that, that's me for the day. Little John, done. So, till I see you again, we're brewing beer, drinking beer, talking beer, brewing lemonade, drinking lemonade. Good brewing.